Chapter 21 Spiritual Beasts and High-Grade Spiritual Medicine in the Foundation Establishment Stage. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Deep in the Nanfeng forest, in a cave, 5 people wrapped in black robes were sitting around a bonfire. The exchange meeting between the two sects has begun. When do we act? This matter should be taken sooner rather than later. Act now. They exchanged a few words with each other. One of the men in black robes took out a crystal mirror. Inside the mirror was a map with 3 red dots moving on it. It's not far from us, let's go. That the man in black robe holding the mirror said something. The next second, the 5 men in black robes disappeared into the cave, and the bonfire was blown out by the passing wind. In the central area of Nanfeng Forest, there is a clearing among the woods. Woohoo! A black-toothed rabbit, a 2-meter-tall spiritual beast with a mouth full of fangs, fell down with a cry. Complete the task and get 20 points. Looking at the message that popped up on the bracelet, Zhang Yun looked affirmatively at Wu Xiaopeng, who was standing next to Black-Toothed Rabbit and breathing heavily. Well done. That Wu Xiaopeng smiled. This black-toothed rabbit was at the 8th level of the Qi refining stage. Although he was at the peak of the Qi refining stage, he lacked combat experience and it took a lot of effort to solve it. The score is 106. I wonder how it ranks. Zhang Yun looked at the numbers on the bracelet and felt a little curious. Counting the time, it has been almost an hour since the exchange meeting between the two sects started. He is not sure where he will rank. After all, at the beginning, the battle with Qiu Lu and the others took a lot of time. However, after using Qiu Lu's road map, it was much easier to find spiritual beasts. No matter where we are now, we will try to get the first place in 3 days. Zhang Yun's eyes glowed a little. When participating in these 2 exchange meetings, his goal was to be number 1, not to mention the infant transformation pill. This is also related to this year's ranking of Lingxian sect elders. If he can get first place, his performance as an elder this year will be greatly improved, and he will have great hope of retaining his position as an elder in the future. Walk. Thinking about being full of motivation for a moment, continue to follow the route map to find the next spiritual beast location. After finding the place this time, Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows. This is a lake in the forest, with more than a dozen crocodiles 2 to 3 meters long floating on the lake. Previously there were just 1 or 2, but now it's a group. This time I'm here as a teacher. Looking at Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng who were eager to try, Zhang Yun waved his hand and was about to walk out. Ho! Suddenly, a deep roar came from the lake ahead, and a giant crocodile more than 5 meters long was seen leaning out from the bottom of the lake. Zhang Yun was startled and used the immortal eye technique. Spiritual Crocodile King, cultivation level, 2nd level of foundation building stage. Weaknesses: the nose and abdomen are very fragile. Attacking these 2 areas can quickly cause severe injuries. Foundation building period. Zhang Yun's expression changed. After entering the Nanfeng forest for so long, this was the first time I encountered a foundation-building spiritual beast. It seems like we can harvest a wave of points. The corner of his mouth curved, and he immediately came forward. Just when he was 10 meters away from the lake, the spirit crocodile king on the lake clearly sensed something, and his ferocious pupils looked directly at him. Who? Seeing him, the intruder immediately let out a roar, and his huge body swam out of the lake in 2s and 2s, opening his bloody mouth and pounced on him. Although his body was huge, the spirit crocodile king was not slow at all and rushed in front of him in an instant. Zhang Yun was already prepared and took Qingyuan steps under his feet. He dodged the spirit crocodile king's bloody mouth directly from the side, moved his spiritual energy on his fist and aimed it at his tender white belly, and raised his hand to deliver an uppercut. Boom! The spiritual energy and power on the fist exploded at the same time, directly blasting the huge body of the spirit crocodile king into the air, flipping several times in the air and then falling heavily. He fell to the ground on all 4s and lost his breath under the punch. Many spiritual crocodiles on the lake who witnessed this scene looked at each other with human confusion on their faces. Died. Their king is dead, dead. Just as they were shocked, they suddenly saw Zhang Yun looking towards them with a smile. All the spiritual crocodiles were so frightened that they all jumped up and dived to the bottom of the lake without saying a word. How could Zhang Yun let them go? Wrap your mouth and nose directly with spiritual energy, and jump into the lake after him. This Ling crocodile lake is not very deep, only 6 or 7 meters. Although Zhang Yun's speed under the lake was not as good as on land, it was still easy to catch these spiritual crocodiles in the chi refining stage. In less than 2 minutes, he beat the spiritual crocodiles to death and threw them onto the lake. After dealing with these spiritual crocodiles, Zhang Yun was about to swim back up when his eyes were suddenly attracted to the center of the lake bottom. I saw several Ganoderma lucidum growing there, which looked like crystal Ganoderma. Level, top grade elixir. Introduction. Condensed by water energy, it is a natural elixir that grows at the bottom of rivers and lakes. Each plant needs 10 years of energy condensation to grow and take shape. Contains extremely strong water aura energy, which can be of great help to monks and spiritual beasts who practice water attribute skills. Picking method: wrap it with spiritual energy and place it in a container filled with water. Note, once this Ganoderma comes out of water, its energy will quickly dissipate and disappear. It must be used up within 1 minute. A piece of information suddenly appeared in front of his eyes, which made Zhang Yun stunned. Can you even read elixirs? Immediately he reacted and his eyes lit up. I thought that the immortal master's heavenly eye could only see the disciple's information, but I didn't expect that first it was the spiritual beast, and now it could even see the information about the elixir. This immortal master's heavenly eye is simply an encyclopedia. 10 years of high-quality water-based elixir, what a good thing. Zhang Yun's face was filled with joy. In the immortal continent, elixirs are divided into 5 levels: low grade, medium grade, top grade, and holy medicine. The specific value is also related to the purpose and year of the elixir. Like the crystal Ganoderma in front of you, it is a top grade elixir with water properties that belongs to 10 years and can directly help monks. The value of this elixir is very precious. Zhang Yun estimated that this random plant would cost at least 1,000 spiritual stones. He immediately swam to a few crystal Ganoderma plants, took out a small wooden shovel and a few glass boxes, filled them directly with lake water, and then carefully packed the crystal Ganoderma plants into them according to the method taught by the immortal master Tianyan. Several crystal Ganoderma lucidum plants were picked, and you can see that a blue mark was left underneath. There are still a few residues next to this mark. It seems that the spirit crocodile king just broke through the foundation after swallowing a few of these crystal lingji. Zhang Yun understood it at a glance and couldn't help but shake his head. This spirit crocodile king is such a waste of natural resources. If I had known, I would have just punched a few more times and then killed him. It's so cheap to kill this little crocodile king with one punch. Without staying under the lake for long, Zhang Yun put the packed glass box into his storage ring and swam back to the shore. Master. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang also came to the lake and greeted him immediately when they saw him swimming up. Collect those spirit crocodile corpses. Zhang Yun pointed around. Su Ming and the 2 men nodded and immediately put away the body of the spirit crocodile. Zhang Yun used spiritual energy to pass through his robe, and the robe was dried instantly. Having spiritual energy is convenient. Smiling slightly, Zhang Yun turned his head and was about to say something, when his expression suddenly condensed. Come out. He suddenly looked in a direction in the forest and shouted coldly. Fairyland Chapter 22 Attack. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Master. Hearing Zhang Yun's shout, Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang were stunned. However, after noticing Zhang Yun's gaze, they immediately became aware and looked in that direction cautiously. After a short period of foundation building, my perception is quite sharp. A faint voice came. Zhang Yun frowned. Not good. Immediately, his expression suddenly changed, and he quickly took Qingyuan's step and rushed towards Wu Xiaopang as fast as possible. Puff. Blood suddenly appears. Wu Xiaopang was still in a daze when he saw Zhang Yun blocking his face with his hand, but at this moment, a sharp sword blade penetrated the center of his hand, and blood gurgled down from it. Master. Wu Xiaopang reacted quickly and turned pale. Get back. Zhang Yun did not look at him, but stared coldly at the man in black robe in front of him who stabbed his palm with a sword. Unlike Qiu Lu who fired an arrow secretly before, the sword of the man in black robe in front of him was completely aimed at Wu Xiaopang's life. So fast. Seeing Zhang Yun blocking Wu Xiaopang's sword with his palm, a trace of surprise flashed across the eyes of the man in black robe. Who are you? Zhang Yun spoke with a cold tone. You don't need to know. that the man in black robe smiled faintly, and a glimmer of light suddenly appeared in his eyes. Zhang Yun suddenly sensed something and quickly yelled at Su Ming, who was a few meters away, "Minger, hide quickly." Ah, but his voice was still too late. Su Ming screamed. In front of Su Ming, another thin man in black robe appeared and pierced Su Ming's body with a sword. However, this sword did not hit the vital point, but only hit Su Ming's left shoulder. Zhang Yun breathed a sigh of relief, but his face was extremely cold. "You are seeking death." As he spoke, he directly pulled out the hand that was pierced by the sword of the man in black robes, and the spiritual energy on his body exploded. The peak of the foundation building period. Sensing the aura emanating from him, a trace of surprise flashed across the eyes of the two men in black robes. Didn't the information say that there is only the third level of foundation building? Zhang Yun's uninjured left fist was wrapped in spiritual energy and swung out. The man in black robe in front of him drew his sword and stepped back, dodging the punch. Zhang Yun immediately took Qing Yuan's step, trying to rush towards the skinny black-robed man who stabbed Su Ming. Brush. But a flash of sword light struck from the side, causing his forward steps to be halted. "Where do you want to go in front of me?" The man in black robe in front of him stood in front of him with a sword. "Roll." Zhang Yun didn't talk nonsense. Spiritual energy surged from his fist, and he used all his strength to punch out with the spiritual energy. "Oh, it's just the foundation building period." The man in black robe sneered and raised his sword to meet him. Boom. But before he could finish his words, the sword in his hand was shattered by this punch, and the terrifying force came towards him like a roaring mountain and a tsunami. The man in black robe was shocked, but it was too late to hide. Pang. The black robe exploded, and blood spurted out from the mouth of the man in black robe. His whole body flew backwards, creating a long line of blood in the void, and hit a huge rock dozens of meters away, shaking up a piece of stone debris. "Flying with blood and water, I don't know whether I am alive or dead for a while." This. The skinny black-robed man who stabbed Su Ming in the shoulder with his sword looked at this scene and was stunned with disbelief. "What's the situation? His companion is at the golden core stage, how could he?" Before he had time to think about it, he felt a cold air hit his face. Zhang Yun seemed to have walked out of the nine nether hell. His eyes were filled with a chilling coldness, and they were completely locked on him at this moment. At this moment, the man in black robe felt as if he was being stared at by the god of death, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Whoosh. The next second, he saw that Zhang Yun had transformed into a cyan ghost, rushing towards him so quickly that he could catch it with his naked eyes. Can't escape. There's no way to avoid it. This was the only thought the man in black robe had at the moment. Boom. But at this moment, a black shadow passed in front of him, and all the cyan was blocked by this black shadow. Feeling that his fist was blocked, Zhang Yun was startled. I saw another tall man in black robes appeared in front of him, using his hands to block his full-strength fist. What a terrifying power, that the tall black-robed man blocked his fists with both hands and smacked his tongue slightly. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhang Yun. This kind of power is not what you should have in the foundation building stage. Zhang Yun did not speak, but at this time his eyes were already using the immortal eye technique. Realm, peak of golden elixir stage, physique, possess an awakened middle-grade thunder spirit body with thunder attribute aura, kung fu and combat skills practiced, thunder spirit body refining art, weaknesses. The thunder spirit body training has never been completed to perfection. It only covers the upper body. Boxing cannot be practiced below the waist, and the legs are especially weak, the peak of the golden elixir stage. Zhang Yun's eyes narrowed slightly. At the same time, a trace of doubt flashed through my mind. Where did these three men in black robes come from? 3 golden elixir stages took action together, just to deal with his foundation building stage and 2 small chi refining stages? He didn't understand. Who thought so highly of him? Send such a lineup. I thought of many people at the moment, and finally settled on one person. There is only one person who has the ability to send such a lineup to attack him. Currently, there is only one person who has conflicts with him, the head of the Nanshan sect. But he still couldn't understand it. How cautious is it to send such a lineup to deal with him? Also, since they have sent such a lineup, why did the three Qiu Lu people come here again? Zhang Yun was puzzled, but one thing was certain, trouble is coming. Get out of here. With a loud roar, spiritual energy and power exploded from his fists. The tall man in black robes in front of him did not expect that his power could explode. He was caught off guard, and his whole body was shaken and took a few steps back, taking advantage of the opponent's retreat. Zhang Yun moved his Qingyuan steps and quickly came to Su Ming's side, pang. He punched off the sword blade inserted into Su Ming's shoulder, then pushed Su Ming to Wu Xiaopang not far away, and shouted, "Let's go." Master. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang reacted at the same time, their faces turned pale. Go quickly. Zhang Yun shouted. Although Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang wanted to stay, they also knew that staying was just a burden, so they immediately gritted their teeth and ran away. Don't even think about leaving. The skinny man in black robe also reacted and quickly wanted to chase him, but Zhang Yun came directly in front of the opponent, raised his hand and punched him. The skinny black-robed man's expression changed and he quickly avoided it. Zhang Yun, however, refused to give up, and then punched the opponent with each punch, hitting the opponent's neck. He had already used the immortal eyes and heavenly art to see this skinny black-robed man, and his weak point was his neck. Facing his punches, the skinny black-robed man was at a loss and had to dodge back and forth. Zhang Yun beat him back in a few blows. If this continues, he will be able to defeat the opponent in less than 2 minutes, but when he saw that the tall man in black robe next to him had calmed down and was about to chase Su Ming and the others, he immediately ignored the defeat of the skinny man in black robe and turned his fist around to attack the tall man in black robe. The tall black-robed man's expression condensed. Even though he was at the peak of the golden core stage, he still had to deal with Zhang Yun's strange power with caution. The skinny man in black robe had his hands free and wanted to chase him, but Zhang Yun immediately blocked him again. For a moment, Zhang Yun blocked two with one. Asshole. Seeing Su Ming and the two running away, the expressions of the two men in black robes darkened. They were 2 golden elixir stages. No, plus the man in black robe who was lying on the side unable to get up was 3 golden elixir stages, but they were actually blocked by a peak foundation building stage person. If this spreads out, people will definitely laugh out loud. The tall man in black robe looked particularly ugly. This time the family sent him and the 2 Jin Dan Qi here, which seemed to him a bit of a fuss. I didn't expect that the foundation building elder of Lingxian's sect would be so powerful. Fortunately he is here, otherwise. Since you want to die, let's send you on your way first. The tall man in black robe suddenly sensed something, his expression moved, and he immediately stopped chasing him. His energy was completely locked on Zhang Yun. Boom. The thunder and lightning aura burst out from the palm, colliding head-on with Zhang Yun's fist. Zhang Yun and the tall man in black robe stepped back at the same time, looking at his fist which was numb due to the residual electric current. Zhang Yun glanced at the legs of the tall black-robed man and exhaled softly. He took out a long sword from the storage ring. I just recently mastered a set of sword moves, but I haven't had any actual combat yet. He raised his sword and pointed the blade directly at the 2 tall men in black robes, saying, "Today, I will use it to collect your heads." Arrogant. The tall man in black robe shouted coldly, his strong arms shook, and a large amount of thunder and lightning spiritual energy surged out. The atmosphere in the field was instantly tense. Chapter 23 The Enemy. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Within the forest. Brother, master, will he be okay? Wu Xiaopang looked back with worry on his face. Su Ming was silent, although he knew that Zhang Yun was very strong. They were 3 golden elixir stage players, especially the tall black-robed man who appeared at the end, giving him the impression that they were probably the top masters in the golden elixir stage. 1 against 3, a flash of worry flashed in Su Ming's eyes. At the same time, he couldn't help clenching his fists, biting his lips and looking unwilling, only hating that he didn't have enough strength. Where do you 2 little mice want to run to? At this time, a sudden sound suddenly came from above. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang's expressions changed and they looked up. They saw 2 men in black robes staring at them with amusement in the big trees on both sides. Little fatty, run away. Su Ming immediately shouted. Escape? Where do you want to escape in front of me? With a sneer, the 2 men in black robes jumped down from the big tree at the same time. holding a sword in each hand and slashed at them. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng quickly jumped to both sides to get out of the way, but the black-robed man's sword still stirred up so much energy from the dust that it fell to the ground, causing him to stumble backwards on both sides. This sound. Su Ming, who took a few steps back, stabilized his figure, looked at the man in black robe who sneered and suddenly recognized something, and his body trembled. His eyes filled with unforgettable hatred, and he roared angrily, "Lin Shi! You are Lin Shi! Can you recognize me in this way?" The sneering man in black robe was startled when he heard the words, and the corner of his mouth curved slightly, and he simply did not cover it up, and directly lifted his hat, revealing a handsome young face. "It's really you." The moment he saw this face, Su Ming's eyes seemed to burst out with fire, and his whole face turned red with anger. "Senior brother." This angry look made Fatty Wu next to him a little stunned. This was the first time he saw Su Ming like this since they met. "Master." When the other man in black robe saw the handsome young man's appearance, his expression changed slightly. "It doesn't matter." Lin Shi waved his hand and looked at Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng with a look of disdain. "It is impossible for two dying people to spread the news. Go and kill that little fat guy. This waste." He stared at the furious Su Ming and licked the corners of his mouth as if he were looking at a delicious prey. "Young master, let me destroy you again." "Yes, master." But when the man in black robe saw this, he didn't say anything more and immediately rushed towards Wu Xiaopeng with his sword. Wu Xiaopeng's expression changed, and he quickly took out a knife from his storage ring to block it. Kang! The swords collided, sparks flew, and a burst of energy exploded on them. Wu Xiaopeng's body swayed and he was knocked back. Foundation building period. He took more than 10 steps back before he regained his balance, looked up at the man in black robes in front of him, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. The three men in black robes who appeared earlier were all at the golden core stage. He thought this was the same, but he didn't expect, brush. Before he had time to think about it, the man in black robe was already attacking him with his sword again. "It's just the foundation building period, I may not be able to fight." Wu Xiaopeng gritted his teeth when he saw this. He didn't intend to run away, so he directly picked up the knife and faced him. "The fight starts here, in the open space next to it." "Trash, you didn't expect to meet me again, did you?" Lin Shi looked at Su Ming and sneered and said, "I said before that you can't escape. Last time, your parents helped you with the rear, so you escaped by chance. This time, you can't escape again. Brute." When he heard the word, father and mother, Su Ming's eyes instantly turned red, and he took out a long sword and slashed at the opponent frantically. Kang! Lin Shi raised his sword to block it, then suddenly channeled enough spiritual energy into the sword blade in his hand, and swept it forward. Su Ming immediately flew out with his sword. Snap! The long sword fell to the ground, feeling the numbness in his palm. Su Ming looked at Lin Shi and his pupils shrank slightly. Foundation building stage. "Young master, I can build the foundation so quickly. I really have to thank you, you loser." Lin Shi curled his lips and said, "If it weren't for your useless dragon spirit root, I might have had to spend a lot of effort to build the foundation. You deserve to die." Upon hearing this, Su Ming suddenly opened his mouth and roared. "Hold head high." The first of the 9 transformations of the Golden Dragon is the roar of the Golden Dragon. As the whistle sounded, a large wave of dragon power swept out of Su Ming's body. Lin Shi felt the power of the dragon head-on, and his body couldn't help but tremble. He felt that the flow of spiritual energy in his body was somewhat stagnant. He looked at Su Ming with surprise on his face. "It seems that just like the news the family received, you waste has activated your hidden dragon bloodline constitution. So, you still have a dragon spirit root in your body." As he spoke, he licked the corner of his mouth, with a hint of fanaticism in his eyes. "One dragon spirit root has benefited me a lot. If I get your second one, I estimate that I will be able to reach the golden core stage soon. Waste, be good. Give me your second dragon spirit root." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Shi rushed towards Su Ming in the face of the roar of the dragon. Su Ming's face changed slightly, and he immediately took the Cirrus step. Looking at his Wanyan footwork, Lin Shi raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and focused on the steps under Su Ming's feet. 1 step, 2 steps, and on the 3rd step, he suddenly thrust forward with his sword, brush. A sword passed through, but it hit nothing. Lin Shi was stunned. I saw that Su Ming, who was supposed to take the 3rd step, actually took a false step and did not take it. You. Lin Shi was stunned. Su Ming seized the opportunity and struck out with his sword, Kang. Lin Shi's expression changed slightly, and he hurriedly crossed his sword to block it. He didn't have enough time to move his energy during the whole process, and Su Ming's sword staggered him backwards. While you are sick, I will kill you. Naturally, Su Ming would not let go of such an opportunity, and took the 4th step with his feet to pursue and kill with a sword. Lin Shi could only block it hastily, but while blocking it, he also stared at Su Ming's feet from the corner of his eye. Seeing Su Ming take the 5th step, he slashed with his sword without hesitation, brush. However, this sword cut into nothing again. I saw that Su Ming, who was supposed to take the 5th step, actually failed to take this step. How come? Lin Shi couldn't believe it. He had seen Su Ming cirrus cloud steps more than once. He also specially asked a Nascent Soul Stage monk to look at it and found several flaws in it. With this flaw, he easily defeated Su Ming and took away his dragon spirit root, but now this is obviously still Zhuanyanbu. Why is the flaw missing? Did Su Ming notice it? Impossible. He only asked a Nascent Soul Stage monk to see it. Generally, even a Golden Core Stage monk would find it difficult to see the specific problem with this Huanyanbu. Master is indeed right. Seeing Lin Shi's sword aimed at him as he stepped forward, Su Ming felt happy. Without Zhang Yun's previous guidance on Huanyun's step, he would have been severely injured by Lin Shi at the 3rd step. As for now, Lin Shi's sword failed and most of his body was completely exposed. How could Su Ming miss such an opportunity? Puff! The spiritual energy exploded and he slashed out with all his strength. There was a scream, and blood flew high with an arm, snap. The sword blade fell from Lin Shi's hand. He covered the wound on his severed right arm with his left hand and screamed in pain. He couldn't help but roar, "Trash, how dare you kill me!" Puff! Before he finished speaking, Su Ming slashed out with another sword with an indifferent expression, directly cutting him to the ground. A blood mark appeared on his chest. Lin Shi looked at the indifferent Su Ming and his expression changed when he felt the murderous intent. He quickly shouted, "Scrap, Su Ming, you can't kill me. I am the young master of the Lin family in Nanyan City. If you kill me, not only you, but everyone around you will suffer revenge from our Lin family." That when Su Ming heard this, the sword he was about to slash paused slightly. The Lin family in Nanyan City, thinking of this behemoth family power, he hesitated. It would be fine if it was just him, but now he has a master and a junior brother. "Brother, be careful." At this moment, Wu Xiaopeng's loud roar suddenly came to his ears. Su Ming's expression changed and he quickly dodged sideways. As soon as he dodged, the man in black robe next to him rushed over, picked up Lin Shi who fell to the ground and ran away. "Don't leave." Su Ming shouted angrily and wanted to chase him, but as soon as he took a step forward, he felt a sharp pain in his shoulder. The previous wound on his left shoulder had already been opened due to his series of battles, and blood continued to flow out. The pain spread instantly. The battle just now was entirely supported by his anger and hatred. "I can't hold it anymore now. Brother," he only heard Wu Xiaopeng scream, and then he fainted. Chapter 24, Beheading. You are listening at novelfold.audio. The other side, hold head high. Hearing the roar of a dragon that was obviously Su Ming's from the forest in the distance, Zhang Yun's face changed as he was at war with the 2 men in black robes. "Do you have any companions?" The tall man in black robe didn't answer, but the curved corners of his mouth said it all. Zhang Yun did not hesitate, turned around and wanted to fly away into the distance. Zhila. But there was a rapid sound of electricity in his ears, and he paused in his forward steps and quickly jumped away from where he was. Pang! Almost at the moment he jumped away, his electric-filled fist hit the ground hard, creating a half-meter hole. The tall man in black robes was filled with thunder and lightning energy. He put his fist on the half-meter pothole and looked at him indifferently. "In front of me, do you still want to leave?" "Get away." Zhang Yun looked cold. Ah, that the tall man in black robe just chuckled, brush. Zhang Yun didn't say much nonsense and just slashed out with his sword. I don't know what the so-called things are. Do you really think you can show off your power in front of me when you are only in the foundation building stage? That the tall man in black robe snorted coldly when he saw this. His fists were filled with thunder and lightning aura, and he faced him head-on, but just when his fist was about to collide with Zhang Yun's sword, brush. As if passing through a phantom, his punch actually passed through the sword. The tall man in black robe was stunned for a moment, then his expression suddenly changed in the next second, not good. Puff. Zhang Yun's sword appeared in front of his right leg like a ghost, leaving him unable to react in time. A sword had already passed directly between his right thigh, snap. There was a sound of landing. Most of the tall black-robed man's right leg had separated from his body and fell to the ground with gurgling blood. The screams were delayed for half a beat, and the tall black-robed man whose right leg was cut off immediately lost his balance and fell to the ground in pain. Third Elder. The skinny man in black robe next to him changed his face when he saw this scene. As the third elder at the peak of the golden core stage, one of his legs was cut off with a sword. Whoosh! Before he had time to think about it, Zhang Yun suddenly slashed at him with his sword. The skinny black-robed man's expression changed drastically and he quickly dodged. However, after dodging away, he discovered that Zhang Yun, who was slashing with a sword in front of him, turned into nothing and disappeared. Looking to his side again, Zhang Yun appeared like a ghost. I just had time to open my mouth and pronounce a word, when I felt a pain in my neck, puff. The world was spinning in front of my eyes, and then, there was nothing more, snap. Without taking another glance at the head that fell to the ground, Zhang Yun glanced at the tall black-robed man with only one leg beside him. I originally wanted to try this concealment sword technique with you more, but you. Brush. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Yun had already drawn a long arc in the air with his sword. The tall man in black robe didn't even have time to react. His neck was severed under the light of the sword, and his whole head flew high into the air. You must force me to chop off your heads in advance. Zhang Yun finished speaking indifferently. He was about to go in the direction that Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng had just gone, but suddenly two figures quickly approached from this direction. It was the black-robed man in the foundation building stage who had carried Lin Shi on his back all the way. Seeing Zhang Yun standing here, everyone in the foundation building black robe and Lin Shi were stunned. He soon noticed the two corpses with their heads dislocated on the ground nearby, especially the corpse of the tall man in black robes. They couldn't help but open their mouths and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Third Elder. Their third elder at the peak of the golden core stage was actually killed. The man in black robe reacted immediately, turned around and ran away with Lin Shi on his back. How could Zhang Yun let him get his wish? A Qingyuan stepped forward and knocked the black-robed man and Lin Shi to the ground with a flip of his hand. Without giving the two of them a chance to speak, they directly led them towards Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng with their left hand and right hand, as if they were carrying two chickens. Soon, Zhang Yun saw his two apprentices. Su Ming was covered in blood and fell to the ground in a coma, while Wu Xiaopeng was busy bandaging his wounds. Seeing that both of them were still alive, Zhang Yun breathed a sigh of relief. Master. Wu Xiaopeng also noticed, and his eyes were full of surprise when he saw him. Zhang Yun waved his hand, indicating that we would talk later, and threw Lin Shi and the two aside. He immediately stepped in front of Su Ming, looked at his bleeding left shoulder, stretched out his fingers and tapped it a few times. The spiritual energy flowed in, temporarily stopping the bleeding. Injecting metallic substances into it can stimulate the mutated golden dragon's spiritual roots and trigger the self-healing ability of the dragon blood holy body. Zhang Yun was about to bandage it when the immortal master's heavenly eye suddenly brought a piece of information. He raised his eyebrows slightly and immediately took out a gold dagger from the storage ring. Because of Su Ming's special physique, he prepared several gold daggers in advance when traveling, just in case. It's in use now. Master. On the side, Fatty Wu was startled when he saw Zhang Yun taking out the golden dagger. Then he saw Zhang Yun stabbing Su Ming's wound with the dagger. He was immediately startled. Stop. Puff. He wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Zhang Yun had already thrust the dagger into him. Asshole, who are you? How dare you pretend to be a master? Wu Xiaopeng's eyes suddenly turned red. Zhang Yun was speechless. Seeing Wu Xiaopeng going crazy and trying to attack him, he directly pushed him to the ground with one hand. Take a good look at your senior brother. Feeling the strength of this palm and hearing these words, Wu Xiaopeng was stunned for a moment and looked at Su Ming. Su Ming discovered that the wound was pierced by a golden dagger. Not only did the condition not worsen as expected, but instead, as if some ability had been triggered, a faint golden light spread over the wound. The cracked wound actually appeared to the naked eye. Visible speed begins to heal. This. Wu Xiaopeng's face was full of disbelief. This is your senior brother's special physique, Zhang Yun explained, and when he saw that Su Ming's wound was mostly healed in a few blinks, he secretly smacked his lips. This self-healing ability is terrifying. My immortal master's return body seems to be not bad either. Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows as he looked at his palms. Earlier, he helped Wu Xiaopeng block a sword and his hand was stabbed through. At that time, he used spiritual energy to stop the bleeding. I didn't pay much attention to the battle after that. When I looked at it now, I realized that the wound on my palm had almost healed. Lin Shi and the two who were thrown aside noticed Su Ming's self-healing wound, with shock in their eyes. Is this a monster? How could the injury heal itself so quickly? Were you attacked by these two people just now? Zhang Yun also looked at Lin Shi and the two at this time and asked lightly. Yes, master. Wu Xiaopeng had already noticed Lin Shi and the two of them. He nodded when he heard the words, and at the same time looked into the distance with some uncertainty. Master, those golden elixir stages just now. Killed for the master. Kill. Wu Xiaopeng's eyes widened and he looked at Zhang Yun in surprise. That's the golden elixir period. And there's more than one. Well. At this time, a whimper came out, and as the wound healed, Su Ming slowly woke up. Chapter 25 The Sword of Revenge. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Brother, Wu Xiaopeng immediately stepped forward to greet him. Where am I? Su Ming opened his hazy eyes. Brother, we are still where we are. Still where you are. Su Ming was startled and quickly realized something. Master. Get up immediately. As soon as he stood up, he saw Zhang Yun standing in front of him. Master. Su Ming was stunned. Isn't Zhang Yun fighting with the Lin family's Jindanqi? Why? Master has finished handling it. Zhang Yun said lightly, looking at Su Ming's left shoulder wound. It was almost completely healed, and the golden dagger that had just been stabbed on it had disappeared. He knew that this was absorbed. As Su Ming's strength increased, the mutated red-gold dragon spirit root that was temporarily activated in his body also became more active, able to directly convert gold objects into metallic energy and absorb it into his body, converting it into his own energy. Has been dealt with. Su Ming was stunned. This means that Zhang Yun has solved the Lin family's golden elixir period. Suddenly he caught sight of Lin Shi and two people beside him. Su Ming's eyes suddenly condensed, and anger and hatred suddenly emerged. Lin Shi. Zhang Yun was startled and asked, Minger, do you know these two people? Master. Su Ming nodded, gritted his teeth and said, they were the ones who took away my spiritual roots and killed my parents. Oh. Zhang Yun raised his brows and understood for a moment. So, they are here for you. Master, I'm sorry. Hearing this, Su Ming apologized. I was the one involved. What a waste. Before he could finish his words, Zhang Yun interrupted directly. Don't say sorry in front of my teacher. From the moment you become my teacher, your business is my teacher's business. After a pause, Zhang Yun looked at Lin Shi and the two of them. Master, I was wondering before, who wanted to attack our master and disciple, but now I finally understand. With that said, he walked towards Lin Shi and the other two. What do you want to do? Seeing him coming over, both Lin Shi's expressions changed, and their buttocks squirmed backwards. Minger, since I'm your enemy, I'll leave it to you. Zhang Yun paused and handed the sword that had just killed the two Jin Danshi to Su Ming. Su Ming took the sword, looked at Lin Shi with hatred in his eyes, gritted his teeth and stepped forward. Su Ming, I am the young master of the Lin family. You cannot kill me. If you kill me, you and your master will suffer unending revenge from my Lin family. Lin Shi yelled quickly when he saw this. Su Ming paused when he heard this. Seeing his hesitation, Lin Shi quickly struck while the iron was hot. Su Ming, as long as you let me and the two of you go immediately, I won't let bygones be bygones. Puff. The word stopped abruptly when Su Ming raised his sword and pierced his chest directly. You. Lin Shi looked at Su Ming in disbelief. This sword is for myself. I was blind back then, but I actually considered you a good friend, Su Ming said in a deep voice, suddenly pulled out the sword from the opponent's chest, and then, puff. Another thrust of the sword. This sword is for myself. You deprived me of my dragon spirit root and turned me into a useless person overnight. I will bear this revenge with this sword, Su Ming said coldly, drew out the sword blade again, then aimed the sword at Lin Shi's heart and stabbed it in, puff. Well, Lin Shi's eyes widened, and blood gushed out from his mouth. Su Ming stared at him with overwhelming hatred in his eyes, and said angrily, this sword is for my parents. You lead your Lin family to kill my parents. You will be the first to take revenge. In the future, everyone who participated will be sent to accompany you. At the end of the sentence, he roared out, applied force in his hands, stabbed Lin Shi's body, lifted him up, and nailed him to the tree next to him with his sword. Well, Lin Shi's eyes bulged, and his vision when looking at Su Ming in front of him was completely blurred. Die. He's actually going to die. Wrong. This is wrong. He came to kill Su Ming, how did he end up dead? This is not true. Not real. Lin Shi couldn't believe all this until he died. His head tilted and he completely lost his life. Master. The man in black robe next to him looked at this scene, his eyes already filled with horror. Well. But the next second his eyes widened. Su Ming struck a sword directly, ending his fear and ending his life. Finish these. Su Ming pulled out the blood-stained sword, handed it back to Zhang Yun, and said seriously, Master, I want to become stronger. My teacher will help you. Zhang Yun showed a smile, took the sword, took out a wooden box, put it in, and handed it to Su Ming. This sword is given to you by the master. From now on, it will be your sword of revenge. In the future, I will kill your enemies again. Use. Thank you, master. Su Ming looked stern, nodded heavily, took the wooden box, and carefully put it into the storage ring. Zhang Yun waved his hand, take the things from the corpse. If you want to become stronger, you need resources. Yes, master. Su Ming nodded and took off the storage ring from Lin Shi's body. Let's go, Zhang Yun said, and walked towards the previous corpse of the black-robed man in the golden elixir stage of the Lin family. He was worried about his two apprentices just now, but he hasn't had time to collect the belongings from the Lin family's 3 golden elixir stages. In this world, killing people and grabbing treasures is all too common. Since you killed him, the things on the other party's body are equivalent to trophies. He would not have too many things like spirit stones and cultivation resources. Just a few steps away, Zhang Yun suddenly stopped at his feet, raised his hand and shot a flying sword towards a tree next to him. Click. The flying sword exploded with spiritual energy, directly cutting off the trees. Master, Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng were startled by his action. Zhang Yun didn't explain much, just stared at the ordinary hair behind the chopped tree, which was so frightened that it ran away in panic, frowning slightly. I feel wrong. Let's go. He shook his head, used his spiritual energy to retract the flying sword through the air, and waved his hands towards Su Ming and the others. Only then did the 3 of them really leave, and not long after they left, a figure slowly emerged from the transparency on a tree next to the tree that had just been chopped off by the flying sword, wearing a white robe and wearing a mask. The insight is amazing. Looking at Zhang Yun walking away, the man in the white robe and mask narrowed his eyes slightly and murmured to himself, but it's really unexpected. It seems that the poison before was not really effective. I was almost deceived by this guy. I have to think again. There are other ways. After saying that, his body became transparent again and disappeared. As expected of the golden core stage, you are so rich. Zhang Yun checked several storage rings in his hand and clicked his tongue at the piles of spiritual stones inside. The golden elixir stage of this big family is just different. He estimated that the total amount would be at least 50,000 spirit stones. If you include other elixirs, and the like, the total value is estimated to be 70,000 to 80,000 spirit stones. Thinking about what Qiu Lu had previously, the total amount of things he had on him only amounted to a little over 10,000 spirit stones. It seems that in the future, I have to find opportunities to kill a few more monks from big families. With a few more deals, I won't have to worry about future cultivation resources. Zhang Yun touched his chin and thought. What's this? His eyes suddenly noticed a crystal mirror. On the mirror was a map with 3 red dots on it. Buzz. As soon as he took out the crystal mirror from the storage ring, he saw that the experience bracelet on his wrist started to light up, connecting with a red dot of light on the surface of the crystal mirror. Zhang Yun was startled when he saw this. He looked at the other 2 red dots on the mirror and thought of something. While staring at the crystal mirror, he shouted to the side, "Ming'er, little fat guy, take a few steps." "Ah. Just take a few steps." "Okay, master." Although it was a bit strange, Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng still followed the instructions and took a few steps. As he moved, the 2 red dots on the crystal mirror Zhang Yun was staring at also moved. Really? Zhang Yun felt relieved and waved to the 2 apprentices. That's it, this crystal mirror obviously has the function of tracking and positioning. The 3 red dots on it are connected to the experience bracelets worn by him and Su Ming. With this mirror, the location of the 3 of them can be monitored in real time. But how could the Lin family have such a thing? This training bracelet is provided by Nan Zongbao Pavilion. The Lin family has this mirror. Realizing a possibility, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes. "Master, this guy is not dead yet." At this time, Wu Xiaopeng's voice came from the side. "P.S. I will start adding more updates next month. For the next 3 days at the end of the month, I will update once a day for the time being, and prepare to save more manuscripts." Fairyland Chapter 26 Interrogation. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Zhang Yun looked over. I saw that the man in black robe who was knocked away by his punch first seemed to still have a breath left. He immediately stepped forward and pulled off the other party's clothes, revealing a middle-aged face that looked like a knife. "Do you know it?" Zhang Yun looked at Su Ming. Su Ming nodded. "Master, he is the 7th elder of the Lin family. The other 2 people beheaded by the master are the 3rd elder and the 6th elder of the Lin family." Zhang Yun nodded, glanced at the crystal mirror in his hand, and said, "Tell me about the Lin family." "Okay, master." Su Ming elaborated, "The Lin family is one of the 3 major families in Nanyuan City. The head of the family, Lin Tiandong, is a Yuaning stage monk. There are 9 elders under his command who are all at the Golden Core stage. According to rumors, there are several elders who also have Golden Core a period of cultivation." Zhang Yun narrowed his eyes as he listened. The Lin family of Nanyuan City actually had some impressions in the memory of his fused predecessor, and he knew that it was one of the few powerful families in Nanyuan Prefecture. According to Su Ming, the Lin family is even stronger than the rumors. 1 Yuaning stage plus more than 10 Jin Dan stage. Such strength is not even much worse than that of Lingxian sect. "Ming'er, tell me about the feud between you and the Lin family." Hearing this, Su Ming was silent for a moment before slowly narrating, "Master, my feud with the Lin family starts with Lin Shi just now." When he saw Su Ming for the first time in the apprenticeship ceremony and learned that his spiritual roots were deprived, Zhang Yun had some guesses about his life experience. Listening to it now is when you really understand the whole picture. Su Ming's identity was originally the young master of Su's Chamber of Commerce in Nanyuan City. The Su Chamber of Commerce was passed down from Su Ming's grandfather's generation. Although it is not a big chamber of commerce, it is relatively powerful with 3 Jindanki sitting in Nanyuan City. The birth of Su Ming, who was born with dragon spiritual roots, made people seem to see that the Su Chamber of Commerce was going to soar into the sky. Su Ming has shown great talent since he was a child. 3 years ago, he entered the 5th level of the Qi refining stage at the age of less than 15 and became the most talented young man in Nanyuan City. It was also at that time that Lin Shi, the new generation young master of the Lin family, found him and wanted to make friends with him. The other party took the initiative to make friends. Su Ming did not refuse, and soon the two became good friends as they came into contact. At least that's how it seems to Su Ming, but the reason why Lin Shi got close to him was because the Lin family had obtained a method to transfer spiritual roots. I spent nearly a year interacting with him in order to collect his hair, blood and other things to prepare for the spiritual root transfer. Just one day 2 years ago, Lin Shi came to him and asked for a discussion as usual. Su Ming did not refuse, but this discussion became the starting point of his nightmare. In previous sparring sessions, Su Ming always had the upper hand and thought he still had room for improvement. But this discussion made him realize that Lin Shi had been hiding his clumsiness in the past. Defeated, Su Ming lost to Lin Shi for the first time, but Lin Shi didn't stop there, and took advantage of the sparring process to severely injure him. Then, together with the Lin family's foundation-building monks who had already ambushed him, they killed his guards and forcibly deprived him of his dragon spirit root. And at the same time, the Lin family also launched a long-planned annexation of the Su Chamber of Commerce. 3 Jindan-level experts from Su's Chamber of Commerce were attacked at the same time. 2 were killed and 1 was seriously injured and became disabled. The entire Su's Chamber of Commerce was completely annexed by the Lin family overnight. Su Ming could not escape his misfortune after his dragon spirit root was taken away. It was his parents who discovered the abnormality and came to rescue him in time, but then he suffered a series of pursuits. In order to let him escape, his parents sacrificed their lives and died tragically at the hands of Lin Shi and a group of strong men from the Lin family. By the end of the sentence, Su Ming's eyes were completely red. Senior brother. Wu Xiaopang on the side turned pale when he heard this, and looked at Su Ming with sympathy in his eyes. He had no idea that his senior brother had such a tragic experience. Zhang Yun was also silent for a moment. After seeing Su Ming's mood stabilized a little, he asked, Ming'er, is there any connection between the Lin family and the Nanzangbo Pavilion? South Treasure Pavilion. Su Ming was startled when he heard this and nodded quickly. Master, there is a branch of Nanzangbo Pavilion in Nanyan City. The Lin family has a good relationship with them and they often cooperate. Zhang Yun's eyes suddenly narrowed into slits. Lin family, Nanzongbao Pavilion, Nanshan sect, exchange meeting between the two sects. These names flashed through my mind, and a possible answer was quickly connected. Perhaps these two sect exchange meetings were organized by the Nanzangbo Pavilion under the instruction of the Lin family from the very beginning, and the purpose. Zhang Yun glanced at Su Ming. But thinking about it, I couldn't help but shake my head slightly. With such a blood feud, it's not surprising that the Lin family found out that Su Ming was still alive and might grow up, so they wanted to kill Su Ming. But just for this purpose, paying a series of prices such as Huaying Dan is a bit excessive. After all, one infant transformation pill is equivalent to the possibility of one more nascent soul stage. How can a force with only one yuanying stage be willing to take out such a pill easily? Among the several forces involved, the only one who can be said to have the strength to easily take out the infant transformation pill is South Treasure Pavilion. Could it be that Nanzongbao Pavilion just wanted to promote the experience bracelet and help the Lin family by the way? Zhang Yun thought, this seems to be the only explanation, but there was another thing that he found strange. The Lin family's power was in Nanyan City. Nanyan City is located in the central area of Nanyan Prefecture, which is quite a distance from the south. There is no internet in this world, and news does not travel that fast. Moreover, their Lingxian sect's disciple recruitment ceremony was held internally and was not made public. The Lin family can get the news unless someone within the Lingxian sect spread the news. Thinking of this, Zhang Yun narrowed his eyes again, looking at the seventh elder of the Lin family who was still breathing in front of him. He immediately injected spiritual energy with one finger and touched the center of the other person's eyebrows. The seventh elder of the Lin family suddenly trembled all over and was forcibly awakened. Do you know me? Before he could speak, Zhang Yun used spiritual energy to move the heads of the two Lin parents that he had chopped off before, and placed them in front of each other. The seventh elder of the Lin family was startled at first, and then his eyes widened. This. I have a few questions that I need you to answer for me. Zhang Yun spoke calmly. The seventh elder of the Lin family did not reply when he heard this. still immersed in shock, what happened during the moment when he was unconscious. The 3 elders at the peak of the golden core stage were all beheaded. But before he had time to think about it, he screamed. There was a dagger in Zhang Yun's hand and it pierced directly into his thigh. I don't want to say the same thing a second time. If you cooperate, I will give you a treat. If you don't cooperate. Zhang Yun said lightly, pulled out the dagger, and pierced his thigh with another dagger. I don't mind letting you try it, life is worse than death. That the dagger he stabbed at this moment was not the same as the one he stabbed Su Ming before. Now every dagger contains sharp spiritual energy. Once it penetrates, the spiritual energy will turn into a sharp blade, directly twisting the opponent's flesh and blood. This heartbreaking pain made the 7th elder of the Lin family want to faint, but Zhang Yun directly used spiritual energy to force him to stay awake, maximizing the experience of this pain. So cruel. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang looked at it with their scalps numb. Stop. What do you want to know? I said, dash. The 7th elder of the Lin family only lasted less than half a minute before he couldn't bear it anymore and shouted loudly. Zhang Yun then stopped and took the crystal mirror from the side. This thing was given to you by the South Treasure Pavilion, right? That the 7th elder of the Lin family took a breath and was silent for a moment when he saw the mirror, but still nodded, puff. As soon as he nodded, Zhang Yun stabbed him with a dagger. The pain made him scream again, and at the same time he asked in confusion, I told you, why did you stab me again? I want you to talk back, Zhang Yun said indifferently, took out the dagger again, and made a gesture of stabbing him again. Yes. It was given to us by Nan Zongbao Pavilion. The 7th elder of the Lin family shouted in fright. Zhang Yun then stopped and continued to ask, tell me what happened. Did you come to Nan Zongbao Pavilion, or did Nan Zongbao Pavilion take the initiative to find you? Also, how did your Lin family know that my apprentice Su Ming was there? From Lingxian sect? Hearing this series of questions, the 7th elder of the Lin family was a little dizzy, but looking at the dagger raised by Zhang Yun, he still shouted quickly, we are the ones who found the South Treasure Pavilion. Because we learned that Su Ming had become a member of the Lingxian sect, we couldn't kill him directly. We happened to hear that Nanzangbo Pavilion was planning to use Lingxian sect and Nanshan sect to promote new products in the south, so we approached them. As for the news about Su Ming, it was passed to us by a person who claims to be the disciple of the elder of Lingxian sect. Zhang Yun's eyes narrowed. Sure enough, it was coming from within the Lingxian sect. Immediately asked in a deep voice, which elder is it? The 7th elder of the Lin family said, we conducted an investigation at that time. Although the other party concealed it very well, we still discovered the clues. The disciple who came to report the news was called Nie Ji, and the one who sent him to deliver the news was his master, who is also your spirit immortal, the 10th elder of the sect, Meng Zhong. Meng Zhong. Zhang Yun took a deep breath. This answer was not very surprising to him. If you ask who the Lingxian sect wants to mess with him the most, there is no doubt that it is Meng Zhong. The other party has become smarter, killing people with a borrowed knife. It's a beautiful game. Thinking about it this way, the poison found in his original body during the previous physical transformation was probably administered by the other party. Think of this. A hint of coldness flashed across Zhang Yun's eyes. He looked at the 7th elder of the Lin family and asked, besides your Lin family and Nanzangbo Pavilion, are there any other participants in this matter? Others involved. The 7th elder of the Lin family thought for a while after hearing this, and when he saw the dagger raised by Zhang Yun, he suddenly became excited and said quickly, yes. There is also the Nanshan sect, and the master of the Nanshan sect is also involved. Master of the Nanshan sect? Zhang Yun was startled. The 7th elder of the Lin family explained, in order to have a suitable occasion to take action against you, we and Nanzangbo Pavilion found the Nanshan sect master and reached an agreement with him to hold an exchange meeting between these two sections. This not only promotes the bracelet, but also allows people to let's take action. The master of Nanshan sect. Looking outside the Nanfeng forest, Zhang Yun suddenly realized when he thought of the bet he had made with Qiu Lu that the head of the Nanshan sect would take the initiative to get involved. The other party knew that something would happen to him, so this was a sure-win bet from the beginning. But thinking of Qiu Luo's previous attack on him, Zhang Yun asked again, "Does the elder of the Nanshan sect know that the seventh elder of the Lin family?" Shook his head. "This matter is a secret. Only the master of Nanshan sect should know about it." Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows. It seems that the previous attack was not ordered by the Nanshan sect leader, but Qiu Lu made his own decision. Is anyone else involved? The seventh elder of the Lin family thought for a while, looked at the dagger raised in Zhang Yun's hand, and quickly shook his head. "It's gone. It's really gone." "Okay." Zhang Yun nodded. Puff. "Well," he immediately raised his dagger and pierced his throat under the stunned eyes of the 7 elders of the Lin family. So decisive. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang swallowed their saliva when they saw this. Before, Zhang Yun always had a gentle smile on his face, like a sunny and cheerful big brother. After arriving at the South Wind Forest, they found that their master was even more terrifying than the Judge of Hell when he was cold. Killing without blinking an eye. Zhang Yun looked at the corpse with a calm mind. This calmness surprised even himself. After all, killing the 3 elders of the Lin family was the first time he killed people since he came to the Xiandao continent, but he didn't feel strange at all. On the contrary, it was like a commonplace. It seems that I have also integrated some things from my predecessor. Some memories of my predecessor suddenly flashed in his mind, and Zhang Yun exhaled. His calmness came from his predecessor. I guess no one knows that his predecessor was an elder of the Lingxian sect on the surface, but he actually worked as a killer in secret. Ding. The second training task, lead the apprentice to hunt 10 spirit beasts above the 6th level of Qi refining stage. Reward for completing the task, 30 points. At this time, the halo on his hand suddenly lit up. Let's go. Zhang Yun came back to his senses and looked at the 2 apprentices around him. After wasting so much time, we are probably ranked lower. Chapter 27, Why did this guy's point suddenly skyrocket? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside Nanfeng Forest, in the square, first place, Grand Elder of Nanshan Sect, 301 points. Second place, Nanshan Sect's Third Elder, 251 points. 10th place, 12 Elders of Nanshan Sect, 188 points. 11th place, 9th Elder of Lingxian Sect, 179 points. I'll go. The second mission has just been sent out. How come the top 10 are all Nanshan Sect elders? What's going on with Lingxian Sect? Why is it lagging so far behind? The one with the highest ranking is actually that weird elder. Speaking of which, what happened to these weird elder points just now? Suddenly they skyrocketed into the top 3. How come you haven't gained any more points for so long? It's just a flash in the pan. It's probably because this weird elder was lucky enough to find a group of low-level spirit beasts in the Qi refining stage. After killing them, he gained a wave of points. No matter what, at this exchange meeting between these 2 sects, it seems that the Lingxian sect will be completely crushed by the Nanshan sect. Looking at the real-time ranking on the Crystal Control Monument, there was a lot of discussion in the field. The faces of the people present on the Lingxian sect side were a little ugly. 31 elders from the 2 sects participated, and their Lingxian sect sent 15 elders. As a result, half a day has passed, and there is not even an elder from the Lingxian sect among the top 10. What left them speechless the most was that the highest-ranked person in the Lingxian sect at the moment was Zhang Yun, the weakest and strange elder. What exactly happened here? Could it be that all the Jindan stage elders of their Lingxian sect have been poisoned? Why are they all gaining points so slowly? At this moment, except for Zhang Yun, the other Lingxian sect elders who have gained the most points, the Lingxian sect elder, only has 109 points. This is almost 200 points away from the current number 1 elder of the Nanshan sect. This is only the first half of the exchange meeting. If this trend continues, the gap may even widen to 4 digits in the end. If this is really the case, then their Lingxian sect will be in great disgrace. The leader of Lingxian sect was also frowning at this moment. He expected that this time would not go well, but it would not lead to such a big gap. suddenly something occurred to him, and he couldn't help but look at the master of Nanshan sect. The latter noticed his gaze and gave him a smile. Seeing this smile, the leader of the Lingxian sect felt his heart sink. He guessed that Nanshan sect had made preparations in advance, but the preparations were probably more than he thought. If the guess is correct, the elders of the Lingxian sect have few points, so it is possible that they encountered obstacles in hunting the spiritual beasts. Maybe the positions of the elders of their Lingxian sect are all under the eyes of the elders of the Nanshan sect. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look at Mu Wenxuan. The latter was currently sitting in front of the crystal control monument, with several beautiful maids serving tea and water beside him. Noticing his gaze, Mu Wenxuan immediately gave him a smile full of kindness. This smile made the leader of the Lingxian sect feel a chill in his heart. Protocol, 2 words came to mind. If he didn't understand it before, now he had some idea of the agreement reached between the latter and the master of Nanshan sect. Looking at the Nanfeng forest, his mood suddenly sank to the bottom. Looking at the downcast expression of the leader of the Lingxian sect, the leader of the Nanshan sect sneered. What he wants to facilitate this exchange meeting between the two sects is to crush the Lingxian sect under his feet in all aspects. Score, that weird elder scores. Good guy, we're in the top 10 again. Wait, why are these points still jumping? Damn it, why did this guy's points suddenly skyrocket? At this moment, there was a sudden commotion in the field. The head of the Nanshan sect was startled. On the crystal control monument, the ranking of the 9 elders of Lingxian sect began to jump, and it suddenly reached the top 10. And the points are still rising rapidly, and the rankings are also moving up one by one. With everyone in the field stunned, the rankings flashed continuously from the 11th place to the top of the control monument before stopping. First place, 9th elder of Lingxian sect, 335 points. Seeing this information, everyone present opened their mouths in an "oh" shape. What's the situation? What's going on with this cloud's points? It's been so long just now. With this sudden success, I jumped directly to the first place. This is impossible. The head of the Nanshan sect could not believe it. Zhang Yun had not scored since the beginning. Others were surprised, but he knew that the former had probably been attacked by the Lin family. Why can we still score now? He couldn't help but look at Mu Wenxuan next to the control monument. Mu Wenxuan also frowned. The two looked at each other, their hearts sinking. There is a problem. The leader of the Nanshan sect suddenly thought of something and quickly looked at the bottom of the control monument. Number 31. The 8th elder of Nanshan sect, 0 points. Looking at the ranking that had not changed since the beginning, he suddenly understood something and twitched the corner of his mouth and cursed secretly. You idiot who is good at making decisions. That the leader of Lingxian sect was also shocked when he saw Zhang Yun's ranking at this moment, although he did not know the details of the agreement between the Nanshan sect leader and Mu Wenxuan. It was certain that the elders of their Lingxian sect had been specially targeted. Zhang Yun can unexpectedly rise to prominence. Good boy, I'll give you a credit this time. You can save some face for our Lingxian sect. That with a smile on his lips, the master of the Lingxian sect looked at the ugly-faced master of the Nanshan sect next to him, and suddenly felt good. Is this the 9th elder's points? Oh my god, what did the 9th elder do? No matter what you do. Come on, 9th elder, keep it up. Others in the Lingxian sect were also stunned when they saw this scene, but they quickly cheered up. No matter how weird Zhang Yun is, he is still the elder of their Lingxian sect. Rushing to the first place at this moment can give them some relief. You must keep it up. Nanfeng Forest, in a cave, Cull. After killing the last half-meter bloodthirsty Bat King in front of him with one sword, Zhang Yun looked at the bat corpses lying around and took a breath. Ming'er, Xiaopeng, come in. That he said hello to the outside of the cave. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng entered the cave. Oh my god, so many. Looking at the bat corpses lying on the ground, Fatty Wu exclaimed. Su Ming swallowed. If Zhang Yun hadn't been there, facing this group of bloodthirsty bats, he and Wu Xiaopeng would have been sucked to nothing. After finishing dealing with the Lin family, the 3 masters and disciples followed Qiu Lu's route map and found this spiritual beast land. As soon as they entered the cave, they were attacked by a group of bloodthirsty bats. Zhang Yun pushed them out of the cave immediately. Then came this scene. Collect these bat corpses. There may be spiritual beasts deep in this cave. Zhang Yun looked at the bottomless depths of the cave and said. After hearing this, Su Ming and the two men immediately put away the bat corpse. 335 points, I don't know where I am now. Zhang Yun took the time to look at the numbers on the training bracelet. Apart from the danger, the biggest advantage of encountering a group of spirit beasts is that you can gain points quickly. If possible, he wouldn't mind encountering a few more waves. As a result, the ranking is estimated to go up directly. Walk. After collecting the bat corpses all over the place, Zhang Yun took his two apprentices deep into the cave. Chapter 28, Underground Cave. You are listening at novelfold.audio. As we went deeper, the light around us became dimmer and we could vaguely hear various animal sounds like snakes hissing and rats squeaking in the depths of the cave. The further we went, the more mixed the sounds became, and the more oppressive the air around us became. Zhang Yun looked calm. The two disciples behind him were a little nervous, especially Wu Xiaopang, whose legs were trembling, and he couldn't help but say, Master, how about we retreat? This cave is so creepy. As a cultivator, you can't be so timid. Zhang Yun said, and immediately took out a torch from the storage ring and lit it. The firelight illuminated the surroundings, the gloomy feeling brought by the cave dissipated a lot, and Wu Xiaopang's panic also faded a lot. Follow closely. Zhang Yun said, and began to speed up his pace. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang hurried to catch up. Squeak, squeak. Just after taking a few steps forward, the call that was originally only faintly heard came from all directions at a close distance. Suddenly, small holes the size of a palm appeared on the ground. One after another, black spirit rats rushed out, with red eyes and sharp teeth bared, and rushed towards them. Kill. Zhang Yun spat out a word, stepped forward, and a circle of spiritual energy spread from the soles of his feet. Several black spirit rats close to the surrounding exploded into blood mist on the spot. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang also took out their weapons and started to kill. These black spirit rats were only spirit beasts of the first and second levels of the Qi refining period. Although there were many of them, they were weak and there was no pressure to kill them. After just 2 minutes, there were only corpses of black spirit rats on the ground. Zhang Yun glanced at the small holes. If he guessed correctly, there should be a black spirit rat nest under these small holes. Black spirit rats are a relatively common low-level social spirit beast. They usually live in these wild caves. There are at least hundreds of them in one nest. There are only 30 or 40 of them in this wave, and there are probably many more below. Zhang Yun was not very interested in this, and he was too lazy to collect the rat corpses on the ground. Black spirit rats are the most worthless spirit beasts. The energy contained in their meat is very small. In addition, it tastes very bad and has a smell that is difficult to get rid of. Generally, no one wants to eat it. Don't ask him why he knows this. If you ask, he has never eaten it. Let's go. He continued to go deeper. If these black spirit rats come out by themselves, he will kill them to increase his points. If they don't come out, forget it. But after going deeper for a distance, Zhang Yun suddenly sensed something and his face changed slightly. The ground of the entire cave shook as if it were an earthquake at this moment, turning his head. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The black spirit rats, which were densely packed and almost covered the entire back cave passage, were rushing towards them in groups. Master! Master, rat tied. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopang both turned pale and their voices trembled. Zhang Yun didn't bother to say more to them. He grabbed them one by one with his left hand and one by his right hand, and ran forward at full speed with a flying sword under his feet. Black spirit rats are not scary, even a group of hundreds of them is not scary, but if there are tens of thousands of them, even those in the Nascent Soul Stage have to avoid them. Just after rushing forward for a short distance, Zhang Yun suddenly braked, because in front of him, at this moment, there was also a dense black spirit rat tide coming towards him. Master, what should we do? We are surrounded. Wu Xiaopang's face turned pale. Master knows, Zhang Yun said in a deep voice. His eyes swept around and locked on the ground under his feet. Immediately, his right hand made a fist, and the spiritual energy burst out from the fist, and he punched the ground with all his strength. Since this cave can gather the black spirit rat tide, it means that there are countless small tunnels dug underground. Generally, the foundation of such caves is relatively fragile and easier to destroy. Bang! The fact is just as he thought. The full force of the spiritual energy burst down and the whole cave was shaken. Kaka, the ground under his feet was cracked with the naked eye. There's a chance. Seeing this, Zhang Yun did not hesitate, and used all his strength and spiritual energy to punch the ground again. The whole cave shook violently, and the whole ground under his feet burst open, and at the same time, cracks spread to both sides. Large groups of black spirit rats had no foothold and fell down along the cracks in the ground. Zhang Yun took advantage of this opportunity to take his 2 disciples to fly out of the cave. Boom! But at this moment, a several-meter-long black hole suddenly appeared under the cracked cave ground, and the bottom of the hole was as dark as an abyss. Exposed to the air, it was as if some kind of restriction was triggered, and a terrifying suction suddenly surged out of the hole. Oops! Zhang Yun's face changed, and he tried his best to fly out. But this suction was beyond imagination, as if an invisible big hand stretched out and grabbed him. He couldn't break free even if he tried his best. After holding on for less than half a minute, Zhang Yun was sucked in as soon as his strength was slightly reduced. His 2 disciples were also sucked into the mouth of the dark abyss. At the same time, many similar dark holes appeared on the ground in the area near the South Wind Forest. People who were close to the surroundings did not have time to react before they were sucked in by the terrifying suction force of the hole. Zhang Yun only felt dizzy. When this feeling disappeared, he felt as if he was in mid-air, and his whole body was completely out of control and fell freely. Plop! 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 There were 3 sounds of falling water in a row. When Zhang Yun opened his eyes to see his surroundings clearly, he had fallen into a dimly lit lake. Also falling at the same time were Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng, the latter 2 of whom had fallen into a coma and were sinking into the lake. He hurriedly swam over and took the 2 of them with him, kicking out spiritual energy from his feet and heading upwards. Poke your head out of the lake. The surrounding scene made him slightly startled. At this moment, he seemed to have fallen into a lake at the bottom of a cliff. The lake was not big, and there were uneven mountain walls behind him. In front of the lake, there was an underground square, with a few ordinary luminous pearls inlaid on the walls on both sides. Let there be some light around you. Keeping your gaze towards the front of the square, you can see the entrance of a cave. There is a stone tablet next to the entrance of the cave whose content is unclear from a distance. Did it get sucked directly into the depths of the ground? That I looked up, it was pitch black and I couldn't see the heights. It seems that some kind of restriction has just been triggered. Thinking of the terrifying black hole with suction and combining it with the scene in front of him, Zhang Yun had a rough guess. If the guess is correct, this place may be an underground cave arranged by a powerful monk. The dark opening just now is the entrance. There was no shadow of black spirit rats around, indicating that this place should only attract humans and not spirit beasts. Is it a place of inheritance left by the powerful? Zhang Yun guessed. This kind of place is usually arranged by some powerful monks who know that they are about to die and do not want their inheritance to return to their land, so they specifically use this to find people who are destined to accept the inheritance. This kind of thing still happens from time to time in the immortal continent. Looking ahead, he was unsure, so he immediately swam to the side of the square and placed the 2 disciples on the ground. He pressed the chests of the 2 disciples with his hands filled with spiritual energy. Puff! Puff! The 2 disciples spurted out a large amount of water at the same time, raised their eyelids, and both woke up. Master! Seeing Zhang Yun, they were all slightly dazed, and soon realized what was happening and opened their eyes wide. We just now. Zhang Yun didn't say much and walked towards the stone tablet at the entrance of the cave. Coming here is a destiny. Enter and receive my inheritance. On the stone tablet, there is such a sentence engraved on it. Master, isn't this the place of inheritance left by the ancient monks? Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng also came up at this time. When they saw the content on the stone tablet, they both looked curious. Looking at the situation, it's probably. Zhang Yun said something, looked at the bottomless dark cave in front of him and said, let's go and explore inside with my master. Update at least 3 times a day this month. Chapter 29 of Fairy Tales, can you please get out of here? You are listening at novelfold.audio. Take out a new torch from the storage ring and illuminate the surroundings. Zhang Yun led his 2 apprentices forward towards the underground cave in front of him. Be alert and observe your surroundings along the way. If this place is the inheritance place left by powerful monks, then there are probably some forbidden organs as a test in such a place. It is normal to be seriously injured if you accidentally touch it. After all, even if a powerful monk doesn't want his inheritance to be dusted, he won't give it away casually. Especially powerful monks who have time to arrange inheritance sites before they die will often set up tests to select outstanding enough inheritors. However, after going a long way forward, none of the imaginary restrictions appeared. Just when Zhang Yun lowered his guard for a moment, a black-robed figure suddenly appeared in front of him under the firelight, making him look horrified. Immediately move your eyes. Immortal eye technique. Humanoid puppet, combat strength. Golden elixir stage small success. Introduction. A humanoid puppet made of black iron. It uses spiritual beast crystal cores to maintain energy circulation. The puppet in front of it is an unconscious puppet. Weakness. The crystal core exists on the forehead. If it is broken, the puppet will self-destruct. Puppet. Zhang Yun was startled. Buzz. Before they had time to think about it, the black-robed puppet in front of them seemed to sense them and raised its head suddenly. 2 faint flames appeared between a pair of empty pupils, and their eyes were directly locked on Zhang Yun and the others. Kill. With a scream, the puppet pulled out an iron knife from his chest and slashed directly. Stand back. As Zhang Yun spoke, he took Qingyuan's step, dodged the black-robed puppet's sword, and aimed his right fist at its forehead. Ping! Spiritual energy and power exploded in the fist. The puppet's head exploded on the spot, and a crystal core exposed was directly shattered by the energy. As soon as the crystal core shattered, the puppet's body suddenly made a creak sound. It lost its energy support and turned into a humanoid scrap metal and fell to the ground. Master, this is... The whole process took only a blink of an eye. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng had just reacted when they saw the puppet falling down and turning into a piece of scrap metal. A puppet. Zhang Yun explained, squinting and looking forward, it should be a test set by the senior here. Cheer up and be alert to your surroundings at all times. As he spoke, he continued to move forward. Yes. Su Ming and the other 2 nodded and quickly followed. As he walked, Zhang Yun was also alert. Someone. He was now certain that besides him and his 2 disciples, there were other people in this place, because the information just given by the immortal Eye Jew clearly gave the information about unconscious puppets. But the puppet had just taken the initiative to attack them. There was only one possibility: someone was behind it. What he is not sure about now is whether the manipulator behind the scenes is the powerful monk who arranged this underground cave, or is it someone else. After all, there are not many monks who can control puppets. Maybe someone has broken into this place early and is controlling the puppet remotely in some way. After continuing to go deeper into the cave, there was suddenly a sound of fighting from the deepest direction in front. Zhang Yun was startled. Master. Su Ming and the 2 also heard it. Follow me as a teacher. Zhang Yun waved his hand and quickened his pace slightly. Su Ming and the 2 followed closely. Soon, the 3 of them saw a light appearing in front of them, which was the exit of the underground cave. Quickly come to the exit. What you see is a paradise, like a paradise where hidden people live. There is a mountain spring and flowing water on the right, and there is an elegant small building in the middle. But the most eye-catching thing is the medicinal field next to the small building. Just because in this medicine field, there are many mature and full-colored elixirs: 3-leaf water chestnut flower, level, top-grade elixir, 100-year elixir. Introduction. The flower blooms with 3 leaves. The 3 leaves contain the energy of 3 attributes: fire, water and earth respectively. Different flowers and leaves can be of great help to monks with different attributes. Purple auspicious grass, level, top-grade elixir, 100-year elixir. Introduction. Auspicious grass contains purple energy. Tulu fruit, level, top-grade elixir, 100-year elixir. At a glance, they were all top-grade elixirs. The most important thing is, the 100-year-old elixir. This is the name of this elixir in the immortal continent. No matter what grade of elixir it is, as long as it reaches 100 years, it will undergo a qualitative change. The value of this elixir is more than 10 times that of the same type of elixir that is less than a century old. Any one of the 100-year-old spirit demons of the top grade would cost at least tens of thousands of spirit stones. Zhang Yun's eyes immediately straightened. Huang Laodao, this elder discovered this medicine field first. How dare you compete with my Nanshan sect? Elder Nan, as the great elder of Nanshan sect, you are losing your status by talking nonsense like this, isn't it? We were the first to discover this place. Just as his eyes were shining, there was a cold chatter in his ears. Only then did he notice that there were two monks exuding the aura of the golden elixir stage fighting next to the medicine field. There were two disciples dressed in Nanshan sect costumes in the corner next to them, hiding behind a big rock nearby and shivering. Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows slightly. He knew one of the two golden elixir stage men who were fighting. He had met him outside Nanfeng Forest before. He was the great elder of the Nanshan sect. The other person was a bit unfamiliar. He was an old man wearing a yellow Taoist priest's costume. He was waving a yellow flag in his hand and continuously pumping out amazing spiritual energy. As if feeling his gaze, the two Jin Danchi who were fighting stopped at the same time and looked over. From the Lingxian sect, the Taoist priest in yellow raised his eyebrows slightly when he glanced at the robes of Zhang Yun and Su Ming. The great elder of Nanshan sect looked at Zhang Yun, slightly surprised. A strange elder? You too, please continue, I'm just passing by. Zhang Yun waved his hands towards them. As he spoke, his feet moved towards the medicine field. Call out. Call out. Two streams of spiritual energy shot over at the same time like sharp arrows shot by Biao. Zhang Yun quickly jumped out of the way. Roll. I heard the Nanshan sect's great elder shout coldly. This is not a place for a waste like you in the foundation building stage to come. If you don't want to die, get away. Foundation building period. The Taoist priest in yellow raised his eyebrows. He thought it was a golden elixir from the Lingxian sect who came, but it turned out that he was just building a foundation, so he immediately said calmly, you are not allowed to participate in this place, so get out of here if you are interested. You two have a bit of a temper. Zhang Yun shrugged upon hearing this, and suddenly said with a smile, but I neither want to get out nor leave. But you two, can you please get out? If you are here, you will disturb me picking the elixir. As soon as these words came out, the Nanshan sect elder and the Taoist priest in yellow were stunned and looked at Zhang Yun in astonishment. Is this guy talking to them? The two disciples of the Nanshan sect grand elder next to them also looked surprised. Is this weird elder out of his mind? How dare you talk to their master and Huang Laodao like this? You must know that their master and Huang Laodao are not only at the golden core stage, but also top masters who have reached the peak of the golden core stage, not to mention that Zhang Yun's cultivation has regressed and he is now only in the foundation building stage. Even in the golden elixir stage, he has to take a detour when facing these two people. Things that don't know whether to live or die. The Nanshan sect's great elder snorted coldly, and immediately dodged and slashed at Zhang Yun with his sword. When the blade passed by, even the air was cut with tiny cracks. Master, be careful. Su Ming and Wu Xiaopeng's expressions changed when they saw this brush. Without their reminder, Zhang Yun had already taken Qing Yuan's step and dodged the knife, the operation of immortal eye technique. Grand elder of Nanshan sect, realm, peak of golden elixir stage, physique, metallic spiritual root body, kung fu and combat skills learned, 3 transformations of King Kong, has been trained to the second transformation, crazy sword refining technique, weaknesses, strong swordsmanship, but he is used to raising his sword to attack on the upper lane, and is not good at the lower lane. You can attack the lower part of his legs wildly, forcing his sword skills to deal with it on the lower lane. Force him to show 3 changes. Regardless of the number of changes, the right shoulder is the gate of life. Attacking his right shoulder can severely injure it. Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows. The response is quite fast. Seeing the sword cut through the air, the Nanshan sect's great elder couldn't help but snorted, but the next sword. Brush. Before he could finish his words, Zhang Yun had already taken the initiative to move forward, aiming at his right leg and slashing out with his sword. Court death. Seeing that Zhang Yun dared to take the initiative to attack during the foundation building period, the Nanshan sect Grand Elder was angry and slashed at Zhang Yun with his wrist. He was not used to slashing down the path like this, and his power could not be fully released, but it did not prevent him from having the confidence to directly slash Zhang Yun's sword away. It's just a foundation building period. Even if he only exerts 30% of his strength, he can be easily defeated. Kind. But when his sword hit Zhang Yun's sword, the Nanshan sect elder showed a hint of shock in his eyes. Your power. Zhang Yun didn't say anything and just pushed hard. Tsk. The Grand Elder of Nanshan sect swung the sword in his hand, and his whole body was so shaken that he staggered back a few steps. How can it be that he couldn't believe it? The power of Zhang Yun's sword is not what it should be in the foundation building stage. Brush. Without giving him much chance to breathe, Zhang Yun bullied him again and continued to slash at his legs with his sword. The Nanshan sect Grand Elder was forced to continue facing down with his blade. Kang. 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 Sparks flew everywhere, and the sound of swords clashing kept ringing. Zhang Yun kept using his sword to strike down the lower path of the Nanshan sect elder, forcing the Nanshan sect elder to be unable to lift his sword. For a time, Zhang Yun was completely in control of the situation, and the Nanshan sect elder was beaten back and forth. The Taoist priest in yellow next to him was confused. What's the situation? Is the Nanshan sect Grand Elder at the peak of the Golden Core stage being suppressed and beaten by someone in the Foundation Establishment stage? This is impossible. That the two disciples of the Nanshan sect Grand Elder couldn't believe it at all. They couldn't help but wipe their eyes crazily, hoping to see that this scene was not true, but the facts are clearly right in front of us. How so? Their master was actually suppressed by this weird elder in the foundation building stage. Are you acting? That the Taoist priest in yellow frowned when he looked at the embarrassed posture of the Nanshan sect elder. At this moment, the Nanshan sect's great elder's overwhelming posture completely lost the fierceness when he fought with him before. The path of the knife kept pointing downwards, and it seemed as if most of the power had been removed from the passive body. It was estimated that even 10% of the strength could not be exerted. Wait, this is the way down. Seeing something quickly, the Taoist priest in yellow raised his eyebrows. At this moment, Zhang Yun's every sword attack was aimed at the lower path of the Nanshan sect's elder. The posture displayed by the Nanshan sect's elder was completely in a hurry and did not look like the posture of a calm swordsman. Weakness. The sword of the great elder of Nanshan sect is not good at walking down the road. The Taoist priest in yellow understood immediately. Only. How did this guy figure it out? That he looked at Zhang Yun with some confusion. Such a weakness was not even seen by him at the peak of his Golden Core stage. How did Zhang Yun see it? There is still this sun's aura. Feeling the breath of Zhang Yun's battle, the Taoist priest in yellow frowned. The aura was indeed in the foundation building stage, but it gave him an indescribably weird feeling. I can't say it was oppressive, but it was very strong, as if what he was looking at was not a foundation building period, but a top-level golden elixir period. Did you practice some secret technique to hide your true cultivation level? That the Taoist priest in yellow suddenly became alert. Damn you bastard, this elder wants you to die. At this time, the Nanshan sect's great elder couldn't bear it any longer. With a furious roar, a circle of dazzling golden light suddenly erupted from the body. Chapter 30, I will stab you with a sword and kneel down. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Golden light filled the air, and the Nanshan sect's upper body robe exploded, and the exposed skin gradually turned into a golden color visible to the naked eye. The aura around him was rising steadily, rising to a higher level in an instant. Have you been forced out of the 3 transformations of King Kong so quickly? The Taoist priest in yellow on the side looked slightly focused. The 3 transformations of Vajra. This is the Nanshan sect's signature spiritual level technique. There are 3 changes to this method, and each time you complete one, your strength will increase significantly. However, cultivation is extremely difficult, and there are no more than 5 people in the entire Nanshan sect who can practice it. The great elder of Nanshan sect is one of them. This was already the Nanshan sect's elder's trump card, but he didn't expect it to be forced out so quickly. Finally used it, Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows when he saw this, and gently stroked his sword with his hand. I haven't used this concealment sword technique very well before, so I just want to try it with you. Brush. As he said that, he slashed out with his sword and took out the opponent's legs. Snort. Seeing Zhang Yun still attacking his bottom lane, the great elder of Lingxian sect sneered secretly. Did he really think this was his fate? This time he didn't even block it, letting Zhang Yun slash at his legs. The Taoist priest in yellow looked at him and shook his head slightly. Although I don't know how Zhang Yun knew that the Nanshan sect's elder was not good at lower sword skills, but he still attacked like this after the latter performed the 3 transformations of King Kong. That was because he was thinking too much. As a dignified peak cultivator at the Golden Core stage, the Grand Elder of Nanshan sect cannot be easily defeated by relying on a single weakness. The most powerful thing about the 3 transformations of Vajra is that it can temporarily transform the physical body into the Vajra body. In this state, the Nanshan sect's elder's physical strength is comparable to that of gold and iron. It can be said that he is invulnerable. Even if he takes a few swords forcefully, he may not be injured. Zhang Yun's sword strike was meaningless. On the contrary, it gave the Nanshan sect's elder the opportunity to counterattack. The Grand Elder of Nanshan sect also thought so. At this time, he had raised his sword, waiting for Zhang Yun to rush forward and cut his legs, and then used his sword to cut the opponent in half. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no feeling of being touched by the sword on both legs. This made him slightly startled. Zhang Yun was clearly approaching, so why, subconsciously, he looked down and found that the long sword in front of his legs had turned into a shadow and was dispersing. Oops, that when he realized it, his expression suddenly changed, but Zhang Yun's sword that dispersed in front of his legs had already reached his right shoulder. No. Under his horrified gaze, a sharp sword stabbed into his right shoulder. Ah! With a scream, the elder of Nanshan sect was like a ball being stabbed, and his aura was instantly removed. The state of the 3rd transformation of King Kong immediately dissipated, and the aura in his body weakened from its peak to its lowest point almost in the blink of an eye. His legs were unsteady and he fell to his knees. It's really the gate of life. Zhang Yun raised his eyebrows. You can see a cyclone breaking away in the right shoulder of the Nanshan sect elder who was pierced by his sword blade. This is the life gate of the opponent's technique. When many exercises are performed, the spiritual energy of the body needs to be concentrated at a certain point, so that the effect of the exercises can be maximized. However, the disadvantage is that the part where the cyclone is condensed will directly form the life gate. Once discovered and breached by the opponent, the spiritual energy in the whole body will be dissipated in a short time, which is equivalent to losing combat effectiveness directly. This is the case for the great elder of Nanshan sect at this moment. How is it possible, you? The Nanshan sect's elder was half kneeling on the ground, his face turned pale, and his eyes were full of disbelief when he looked at Zhang Yun. No one else knows about his destiny except himself. How did this guy find out? The most important thing is that he has not even started fighting in the 3rd form of King Kong, so there is no way he can show any flaws. The Taoist priest in yellow who saw this scene not far away was confused again. What's the situation? How come the Nanshan sect's great elder who had just undergone the 3rd transformation of King Kong was stabbed to his knees by a sword in an instant? This is the 3rd transformation of King Kong that is said to be invulnerable. Is it, the gate of life? But he wasn't stupid either. Seeing the Nanshan sect's elder being pierced by the disintegrating cyclone on his right shoulder, he looked at Zhang Yun in disbelief. How did this guy figure it out? First, he knew that the elder of Nanshan sect was not good at attacking with swords, and now he found the latter's life gate with another sword. And what kind of sword move was this just now? Zhang Yun was clearly slashing at the Nanshan sect's elder's legs, so why did he suddenly turn around and slash at the Nanshan sect's elder's right shoulder? As a cultivator at the peak of the Golden Core stage, he didn't even see the movement of Zhang Yun's sword just now. This is impossible. The 2 disciples of the Nanshan sect Grand Elder next to them looked in disbelief. The master who was extremely powerful in their eyes could actually be defeated by this strange elder of the Lingxian sect in the foundation building stage. What a joke! They wiped their eyes frantically, trying to see that this was not true, but the fact was there. I thought you could withstand 2 more moves under my hidden body sword technique, but I didn't expect that it was also 1 move. Zhang Yun looked at the Nanshan sect elder in front of him and shook his head in disappointment. The Nanshan sect elder was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood, but he was unable to refute 1 sword. He was actually defeated by the strange elder in the foundation establishment stage in front of him with 1 sword. Thinking about it carefully, he had no resistance at all during the whole process, and was suppressed and beaten by Zhang Yun the whole time. He felt unspeakably depressed. Didn't the guy in front of me say that his cultivation level had regressed and that he was a weirdo? How come the feeling of facing it is even harder than those in the Nascent Soul Stage? Tell me, how do you want to die? At this time, Zhang Yun suddenly looked at him with a smile. Die? The Grand Elder of Nanshan sect was stunned for a moment, with a look of astonishment on his face. You want to kill me? Zhang Yun rolled his eyes. Otherwise, I would still leave you to take revenge. Tsk. As he spoke, he drew the sword from the opponent's right shoulder and pointed it at the opponent's neck. No. You can't do this. This elder is the great elder of Nanshan sect. If you kill. Seeing that Zhang Yunlai was serious, the expression of the Nanshan sect grand elder changed drastically, and he couldn't help but roar, but he couldn't finish the roar. Puff. Zhang Yun's sword had pierced his throat. Well. The Nanshan sect's elder's eyes widened with disbelief on his face. He actually died in the hands of a foundation building stager. You can just die like this, Zhang Yun said lightly, then turned the hand holding the long sword, and the spiritual energy burst out where it pierced the opponent's throat. Poof. With a flash of blood, the entire neck of the Nanshan sect elder was instantly severed, and his head separated from his body and flew high into the air. The 2 disciples, the Taoist priest in yellow and the Nanshan sect elder who were still shocked not far away, were shocked when they saw this scene. Killed. Zhang Yun actually killed the Nanshan sect elder like this. Master. The 2 disciples of the Nanshan sect's great elder immediately reacted and glared at Zhang Yun. Old Chi Pa, how dare you kill our master? He is our Nanshan sect's great elder, you kill him. Puff. Puff. Before they could finish speaking, Zhang Yun took off his sword and chopped off the heads of the 2 Qi refining stage disciples from a distance. There was no sloppiness in the whole process. So cruel. The Taoist priest in yellow looked horrified at this scene. The young and handsome young man in front of me was so decisive in killing people. Although they were from the Lingxian sect, they were the Nanshan sect's great elder and 2 direct disciples. Wouldn't they be afraid of Nanshan sect's revenge if they were killed like this? Just as he was thinking about it, he suddenly felt a smiling gaze falling on him, and his expression changed. Well, I will leave now. Seeing Zhang Yun looking over with a smile, the Taoist priest in yellow spoke quickly, turned around and wanted to leave. Call out. But before he had even taken a few steps, a flying sword had already shot through the air and accurately landed on the ground less than a step away from his feet, nailing it with a clang.